Wait. The head of the German central bank and the head of the American central bank were run by brothers during a war between the U.S. and Germany?
Yes. Now, I have to qualify. They weren't the formal governors, but they were the key people.
What is the view of war by the banks? Like, what do the banks think of it? You've described the banks as the single greatest control mechanism of human behavior in a society, I think.
Particularly the central banks, because they have the
bigger the bank, the more the power, but their power extends beyond just like their relationships with other banks. Their power determines a lot of what happens in your country.
Yeah.
And they're not under the control of voters, right? So it's an extra democratic institution, which happens to be the most powerful, which is like crazy. I'd love to know how that happened, but how do they feel about war?
Well, central banking and warfare are very closely linked. As I said, the modern major bank, the first modern major bank and central bank was the Bank of England, of course. The Act of Parliament establishing the Bank of England, it said the purpose is to make war. Do you know why the Federal Reserve was established? And there was a rush to establish it for 1914.
The year the First World War started.
Exactly.
Destroyed Europe. Yeah.
And again, it was done with subterfuge. They're gathering everyone.
Yes.
On the 23rd of December 1913, when nobody was there. And then also introducing income tax. That's also at the Bank of England. It was established together in the same act, calling for establishing new taxes. Income tax didn't exist before the creation of the Fed.
The Central Bank of the United States, the Fed, was created right before the war. Right before the war,
exactly.
Months before the war. What was the role of the central banks during that war? The most important war in the last 1,000 years.
Yeah, well, it was the US and Germany were at war, which is very sad. A lot of Americans are of German descent, and Germans didn't really want to be at war with Germany, but that's what happened. So we've got these two countries at war. Sad. The soldiers dying in the trenches. And their economies organized as war economies. At the pinnacle of the war economies are the central banks. So who were the key players in the German central bank, the Reichsbank, which was 100% privately owned? Was somebody called Max Warburg, or Max Warburg, you might say in English. And who was at the pinnacle, in fact, was a founder of the Federal Reserve, and who was the key person there, was somebody called Paul Warburg, his brother. But of course the soldiers have to kill each other, and these two countries are